Today, we're talking about another thing the DMV has been waiting for years. I mean, what have we been waiting for? Dan Snyder to sell the team or the Silver Line? Dan Snyder. The Silver Line extension out to Dulles. Trains will finally start running to 6 new stations on November 15th. Construction, if you remember, began back in 2014. We were already very upset with Dan Snyder in 2014. So this was supposed to be done by 2018. Fast forward through 4 years of delays. We're now just days away. But to put this in perspective for exactly how long it took, we created a game for our friend Joe Marshall. I'm going to throw out a historical building or landmark, and Joe will have to tell me what took longer to build, that landmark or the 8 years for the Dulles extension. Let's see how we did. Number 1, the Washington Monument.
Oh, definitely the Metro. Yeah, for sure.
Actually, the Washington Monument took longer. That took 22 years. To the 8 for the Silver Line extension. So yeah, that actually took longer. I like how you just basically called the Washington Monument simple.
Gotcha.
You were like, oh, they could have threw that up in a weekend. That ain't nothing but a little pencil. That ain't. All right, next, the Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower. Okay, the Eiffel Tower definitely took longer to build than the Metro.
Actually, no. Dulles took longer. Only 2 years for the Eiffel Tower.
All right, you're playing with me, Reese. Nope. How did it take 2 years for the Eiffel Tower, but it took 22 years? You telling me the Frenchmen are that better at building things than us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am telling you that. In fact, we had to get their help in order to design the city. You know, Pierre L'Enfant. You know, we had to go call up the we had to go call into the bullpen and get them to come out of France in order to help us out with creating DC.
I guess they had all that time not fighting to just build.
That's true. The White House, longer or shorter than the 8 years it took to build the Silver Line extension?
All right, my instincts have been wrong the first 2 times, so I'm going to go against my instincts, and I'm going to say that it took the Metro to Dulles a longer time to be built than the White House.
Actually, it was a tie. They both took 8 years.
Huh.
Yeah, they both took 8 years to build. That's a bit of a trick question because I didn't give you that as a possibility, but that's how I get you to be 0 for 3. Next, the Empire State Building.
Okay, Empire State Building definitely took longer.
Dulles was longer. Empire State Building only took 1 year. It took 1 year. It took 8 times longer to build the Silver Line extension. 8 times longer than the Empire State Building. That's right. Mount Rushmore.
All right, Mount Rushmore was back in the olden days. They didn't have all the technology. They couldn't do it as quick. A lot of details in the faces. I'm going to say the line of Dulles was quicker than that.
That is correct. Mount Rushmore was longer. It took 14 years to build Mount Rushmore. I believe that was the first one that you got right. I don't know if we should stop here or keep going. So you
don't have to keep count.
That's funny. The Lincoln Memorial.
Lincoln Memorial. Let us say it was a tie.
That is correct. I like how that is, I couldn't give you 2 that were trick questions. It also took 8 years to build the Lincoln Memorial. The Golden Gate Bridge.
All right, Golden Gate Bridge. I think the people, they needed the bridge. They needed it quick. It was imperative. I'm going to say the bridge was built faster.
That is correct. Only 4 years for the Golden Gate Bridge, about half as long. This was a little confusing to me. The Underground Railroad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really, hey, Reese. I'm gonna say it took longer to. I'm gonna say it took longer to build the Underground Railroad because most of us were held up by work.
That is correct. It took about 40 years in order to fully construct the Underground Railroad. I also would have accepted shorter if you just want to say, well, technically, my man who just ran off into the woods was a part of the Underground Railroad because he said he was. I can't tell you no. The first line on the Metro, the red line from Rhode Island to Farragut.
Rhode Island to Farragut. They did that quicker.
That is correct. That was in about 7 years, whereas this extension took 8 years. So second half, you came on strong in the second half, man.
I'm a finisher. You ask my wife, I'm a finisher. Start maybe a little slow, but I will finish strong.
I'm definitely leaving that one alone. You know, I think my favorite part of that, other than Joe being hilarious, was how for all of the new monuments and landmarks, we use these beautiful, majestic pictures. Almost look like the pictures they use for screensavers for your TV or for your laptop. And then, and then for the Silver Line, it was just like the shot out the window of the hotel room. That's the last one they give away. Like the one they give away for free, just somebody got their luggage stolen. If you want to hear more from Joe, he has a free comedy show called the Sonic Comedy Lab. You can check it out on November 10th at the DC Comedy Loft.